So we got a bit of an apple problem. Got the sink full, got that full, have the freezer full, which means for us, you gotta start making apple butter. So yeah, let me show you the easiest way we found to make apple butter. Step one, hopefully you have a roaster. You gotta fill that sucker right to the top with apples. I forgot I was gonna weigh my my pan here before I start. Our recipe has specific weights that I'll put in the description, but so the pan weighs 3 pounds, 1.2 ounces. So I'll just go ahead and note that. See how many apples we can fit in there. Okay, I'm about halfway done cutting, so that's probably nearly 3 gallons in there. This is around the time where I'm tired of cutting apples. Then you have to start imagining, what is the apple butter gonna taste like? You have to start smelling it in your nostrils. You need something to keep you going. You need something to help you carry on, and the smell of apple butter will do it for you. So just start imagining and keep cutting. Alright, that's quite a lot of apples. It should cook down quite a bit though. We started with 3 pounds, 1 ounce to get 26, so there's 23 pounds, 2 ounces in there. That's a boatload of apples. So this recipe is made for a crock pot. It says to use 5.5 pounds of apples, so basically I'm making a little more than a quadruple batch. So normally it says 4 cups of sugar, so it should be 16, but normally we use about half the sugar the recipe says. So I use like 8 cups of sugar. I know that seems like a lot, but it's gonna be a lot of apple butter. I use basically a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of cloves, and like 12 teaspoons, 8 to 12 teaspoons of cinnamon. So it's gonna smell really good in here all night, and wake up next morning with hopefully some finished apple butter and a really nice smelling house. Good day to be a chicken at our house too. Actually ended up using 3 teaspoons of nutmeg. I have 6 teaspoons so far of cinnamon. I'm gonna just see how that goes. And I just added my last 4 cups of sugar. So that brings me to 8 cups total. You can always add more, but you can't really take it out. So we'll let it cook down. I let it cook through the night and see how it looks in the morning. And I'm cooking them right now at 250. Okay, one last update before bed. It's time for bed, but yeah, it's starting to look and smell just magical in here. See you in the morning. Alright, so this is what it looks like after a little over 7 hours. Everything is now pretty soft. I'm gonna mash everything up, and then we're just now getting into the cook down. Alright, it's the next day, and the apple butter's been in the crock pot now for like, I don't know, 16 hours or so. So you gotta see how good it looks now. So it's pretty much done. I have a couple steps left, but for the most part, the cooking process is done. So I don't know if you have one or have ever seen one of these stick blenders, but these things are awesome. These are the reasons that I don't have to skin the apples or take the peels off or anything like that, because this pretty much takes care of all that stuff. So gotta run this real quick, and then we should be all smooth and ready to can. Alright, we're looking pretty good. Liking the consistency. Just for transparency's sake, I did taste it, and I decided to add about another 1.5 cups of sugar and about another tablespoon of cinnamon, just to get a little more flavor into it. These apples are baking apples, and they are fairly sour, which gives it a great flavor, but sometimes you just need a little extra sugar. So, and then the last thing I forgot to say is the temperature. You want it to be definitely above boiling point for your canning process. So my last step is to turn it up from 200 degrees up to 250 just for this last half hour or so while I get the jars ready to make sure everything's warm enough to can. All right, we got jars hot, lids hot, apple butter's hot. This canning method is not USDA approved, so you'll probably die if you try to do it. So, just get a canning book and do what that says, but you know, this is what I do. There you have it, friends. 19 pints of apple butter. So then you cover them up with a towel until they pop, and then tomorrow you can put them in the basement in the canning room. I don't know why we do that. I just, you know, my grandma says it so the jars don't crack, and so I just believe everything she says. My grandma's always right. So thanks, Grandma. Appreciate you teaching me this. Hopefully you're watching. I miss you. I wish you were here cutting apples with me. You're the best. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that process. I'm still just trying to figure out what to do on Sundays. You know, Sundays are kind of my lazy day. I'm just not sure what to do on the channel for my daily video. But this is kind of more selfish for me. I'm tired of trying to remember what I do every year when I can. So I just figured I'd do the process, and hopefully someone out there gets some value out of this. But you know, you can do this process with apples, you can do it with pears, or I have a killer tomato jam recipe that I can share with you at some point. But yeah, you know, just try it out. Obviously, I have an exorbitant amount of apples, so just a couple things that I didn't really mention. The recipe that I'm putting in the description actually just made for a crock pot. So you don't need 23 pounds of apples. You could do, you know, 4 or 5 pounds of apples, and you can just make a small batch just to test it out. It works really well to do it in a crock pot. Also, if you don't have one of those stick blenders, we've also used our food processor, we've used our blender, we've done those things before to just kind of make it smoother. And so you could do either one. You could just not put the skins on the apples, and it would probably get smooth just by itself, just through the cooking process. And then lastly, like I said, my method of canning, I am not responsible if you get sick from that method, but it's just the method my grandma taught me. It's so much faster than water bath canning. You just make sure everything is above the temperature that you need it to be before you actually put the fruit in there. And then you make sure that the fruit is also above that temperature. And in theory, it should be just as safe as the other route. The only possibility is, you know, you'd have contamination that would get in there through that process. It wouldn't be killed by the extra cooking in a water bath, but that's a topic for another conversation. If you have any questions about canning, or I can answer any questions about this recipe that I left out something important, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. And there's more exciting videos coming this week. Some big progress in place for multiple different projects. So make sure you hit the little bell for notifications, and you will be up to date on all of the videos as they come out. That's all I have for today, you guys. God bless you. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Happy Monday, and I will see you in the next one.